This is the Are You Ready? Textbook page 4, and this video will review some skills that you'll need for this module. When you feel good about these skills, you should hit pause on the video and try the problems, and then hit play when you're ready to check your answers. If you need some instruction, here goes. So the example shows a couple of numbers, 3,564, and you're comparing that to 3,528. And what the directions tell you to do is compare the digits in the thousands, and they're equal to each other. They're each 3. You can see 3,000 is equal to 3,000. And then compare the digits in the hundreds, and that's 5 compared to 5. They're equal. So we just keep moving to the right. Now we're going to compare the digits to the tens place, to the 2. And since 6 in the tens place is greater than 2 in the tens place, then we decide that this entire value is the greater number. So we're going to do the same thing on numbers 1 through 6. The numbers are 478 compared to 471 compared to 478. And in the hundreds place, 4 and 4 are equal. But in the tens place, 7 is greater than 6. So it doesn't matter. Some kids would get caught up in the fact that maybe if you went to the ones place, 8's bigger than 1. But that doesn't matter. A 7 in the tens place is greater than a 6 in the tens place. And so we can do the same idea for number 2. In the thousands place, they're each 5,000. And then in the hundreds place, they're each 0. But in the tens place, I've got 0 compared to 5. 5 is greater than 0. So this is the greater value. So at this point, you should probably hit pause and try the rest of these. And when you're ready to check your answers on 3 through 6, you can resume the video. On number 3, 398 is greater than 389. On number 4, 10,973, that's less than 10,999. Number 5, right off the bat, 8,000 is less than 9,000. So 9,000 is the greater value. And on number 6, just be careful. Don't compare the 1 to the 9, because they're in different places. If you compare a 1 to nothing, 1's greater than nothing. Anything over 100 is less than anything less than 100. So 108 is a greater value. All right, let's move on to the next section. And it's kind of the same idea here, except for it says order the whole numbers. So if they give you a big set of whole numbers, I'm going to ignore the example. If they give you a big set of whole numbers here, it's really important that you check what the directions ask. In this case, it's asking to order them from greatest to least. So I'm going to identify my greatest number here. I've got two numbers that are over 100, 156 and 177. And since 7 in this tens place right here is greater than 5, then 177 is my greatest number. And one way to do this, you could use commas, but another way to do this is you could use your greater than and equal than symbol. That's greater than 156. And 156 is greater than. Now I've got two double-digit numbers, 99 and 87. And since 9 is greater than 8, then 99 would be the next greatest number. And lastly, 87. Now if you use commas on these, that is okay. But what I am trying to get you to do is practice using the inequality signs. Number 5, you have, if you look at the greatest value here, they're all numbers in the hundreds, but we've got 500, 500, 600, 600. Clearly the two numbers that are in the 600s are greater, so 603 is going to be greater than 600 is going to be greater than. And then we've got 598 and 591 and 589. Since 9 in the tens place is greater than 8 in the tens place, it's going to be 591, then 589. It starts to look a little bit complicated when you get to numbers 9 and 10 because we've got big numbers here. Just want to point out to you that these commas are not separating the numbers, it's the semicolons that are. So we've got a number in the 2000s, the 2000s, the 3000s, and the 2000s. One of these is not like the other. It's the 3000 one. That's the greatest value, 3056. And that's going to be greater than. Now I've got three numbers in the 2000s, so I'd go to the tens place to decide. I've got 2006, I've got 2006, and I've got 2000. Well, 2000 is going to be the smallest. So that's going to go very, very, very last. Now I just have to decide between 2650 and 2605. 2650 is greater than 2,605. And the last one's going to be the one that I already decided was last, 2,088. And you're expected to do number 10, but for time's sake, this video will skip number 10. We're going to move ahead to the number line. And the title is Locate Numbers on a Number Line. And what you have to notice here, if you're not noticing, is zeros in the center, and then this is positive, and we're introducing to you numbers to the left of 0 will be negative. And if you're unclear about some of these numbers, this is going to be positive 1, 2, 3, 4, and these are going to be negative 1, negative 2, negative 3. I realize it's a little messy, it's just hard to write in there. Let's go ahead and notice that all of the numbers below here are positive, so that should be pretty simple. It's basically just checking your ability to look at a number line without numbers on it. So number 11, the digit we're supposed to graph is 12. So I'm going to go to 10, I'm going to go 2 to the right of that, I'm going to go ahead and put a dot there, and I'm going to label that 12. And then number 12 is 20, and that's kind of already labeled for us. And then number 13 is 2, so that's just going to be 2 to the right of 0. And number 14 is going to be 9, that's going to be 1 to the left of 10. Okay, we're going to do one more page on this video. It's going to be the vocabulary. And, well, the top of the page looks like this, reading startup. And I want you to pay attention to how to do these, because the directions on these, we get one of these per module, and they're kind of always the same. Visualize vocabulary. It reads, use the check mark words to complete the chart. Write the correct vocabulary word next to the symbol. So I want you to notice that some of these words over here have check marks, and some do not. And so when they tell you to use the check mark words, that means that that's the choices you get. So I'm going to go ahead and leave the words shown. I think I can show the words and all of the symbols. And if you know what the top two numbers mean, but you're not sure what they're called, I'm going to show you a trick in just a minute. But you probably know the third one down. That's clearly an equal sign, so you can get that one really easy. And some kids might look at this one and call it an addition sign. They just called it a plus sign. And some kids might call this a minus sign, but we, as we get more towards algebra, we're going to call it a negative. Negative or negative sign. Now these two up here, what are they called? Well, if you went and looked at your options over here, the only other two checkmark words are the greater than and the less than. And which one is which? Well, this is the way I teach it. I'm going to ask you to look at this one and see it as an L. Now I know it's crooked, but when I did that, can you see that as the word less? Well, if the symbol can be crooked, can be turned into an L, then that makes it the less than sign. And the one that cannot be turned into an L, I mean, I realize it's a backwards L, but the one that cannot be turned into a less than sign is the greater than sign. So that is a way that you can remember which sign is which. And we've got two more at the bottom, so we'll do, I think we've got two more, I gotta look. Yeah, three more questions at the bottom, and the direction says complete the sentences using the preview words. And if I put my page like this, I've got some preview words right here, and I get to choose those. I'm just going to make my best guesses on these. It says complete the sentences using the preview words. Number one, and blank is a statement that two quantities are not equal, and this is the key. If you went and read all of those terms, which one of those would show not equal? Would absolute value be not equal? Inequality? That's it, actually. It's number one is inequality. Unequal would be not equal. So an inequality is a statement that two quantities are not equal. Number two, the set of whole numbers and their opposites are, those are the integers. Integers are whole numbers and their opposites. We will define integers so many times in this first unit that you're going to get really good at that term. Numbers greater than 0 are, those are clearly positive, and numbers less than 0 are negative. Okay, you are ready to move on to the next textbook page.